Hi guys, we're working our way through the 90s, and this is episode 7 of season 7 of Mamemeister's high score Kerfuffle. Last week was a game from 1995, which was Space Invaders 95, released by Taito. This game is pretty fun, and I mentioned that I thought it seemed a bit easy. The first round until the first boss certainly is, but from round 2 onwards, it gets a lot more difficult. I struggled to get much beyond the second boss, although I didn't play much after the first couple of days due to a lack of time. The presentation certainly is excellent though, which is what is needed to make a Space Invaders game at all relevant in 1995, and it plays well too. Albeit a fun game, this never saw a home release, which is no huge surprise, but it did eventually appear on the second Taito Legends compilation on the PS2. Around this time, there was much more appetite for 3D polygonal games compared to sprite-based ones, so I doubt it would have been a big success if it had come to either the PS1 or the Saturn. So with 1995 done, let's take a look at the scores. We've had 21 score submissions, including one from Galaxian, who I follow on Twitch. He wasn't really playing for score, but did give it a go after I suggested it to him, and he has it on a Taito F3 multiboard. I definitely recommend giving him a look. We've also had a return from May Creighton, who also owns this board. As we'll see with the distribution in a second, there are 3 big groupings of scores. Those with around 100,000 or less, those with around 150,000, and those with over 300,000. I'm down in 12th, but it's very close from Paul in 8th down to Blue Yak in 14th. This corresponds to beating the second boss, but dying on round 3. Colin is somewhat on his own in 7th, and then our top 6 are all very close. In 3rd, we have Pearl, who was leading early on, then My Retro Tech, who put in an excellent score last night, but this week's winner, and becoming the first person to take 2 wins, is Graham. Well done to Graham, and although his score was similar to others, he was over 25,000 ahead of everyone else. Here is the score distribution, and this isn't really a distribution. We have pretty much 3 discrete bins, as I mentioned. Those on the left, who would have beaten the first boss, but died on round 2. Those in the middle, that would have beaten the second boss, but died on round 3. And those on the right, that beat the third boss, but died on round 4. You can see our top 5 are all in the top bin, showing how close it was. But it was Graham who was able to get ahead and take the win. And now the difficulty curve. With such a split distribution, we see that the curve reflects this, with an early plateau at round 2, another at round 3, and then finally a bit of another at round 4. Our upper scores do seem to continue to climb, suggesting that maybe the difficulty is levelling out. And finally the progress over the week. I was the first to post a half decent score, but then failed to move things on the way that some others have. My Retro Tech briefly led, before Pearl jumped things up significantly to his final score. He led for most of the week, before Graham took the lead with a couple of days to go. My Retro Tech also then snuck back ahead of Pearl in the final hours to take second place. We can see that most people were playing in the first 2 days, before a bit of a flurry in the last 24 hours, which probably shows it was a decent, but not the most engaging of games. Now that we're 6 games in, here is the league table. The return from May Creighton, with another decent performance, has jumped him up 2 places into 9th. That excellent second place for My Retro Tech has seen him climb 2 as well, into 6th. There's a bit of a battle for 3rd place now, as Pearl gets back ahead of me, but him in 3rd, down to My Retro Tech in 6th, are all in contention. Our top 2 remain the same, but the gap has widened. Big Juffer is in 2nd place, with a nearly 60-point lead over Pearl, but continuing to lead is Graham, who is a big 80 points clear now following that win. Now let's see what this week's game is. Our next year is 1996, and I've had 17 games sent to me. Unlike our last 2 weeks, where Puzzle Bobble has proved a popular choice, no game really stood out this week. Puzzle Bobble 3, Neo Mr. Do, Battle Gorega, Metal Slug, and Sengoku Blade all received 2 votes each. Graham's choice of Salamander 2 gets his probability trebled after his win this week, so there's nothing really a favourite. Let's set things going and see what we get. Okay, it's slowing down. Or could it be Bang Bang Ball? Or has Robert been lucky? Yeah, I think it's stopping. So another game from Robert. I mean, the last one we had was Snow Bros 2, and here we've got another kind of weird choice. I think it's kind of a puzzle game. I think it's a bit like Puzzle Ball. I don't know much about it, but it's somewhat ball related. So I'll go look it up, make a video, and be back in a sec. So this week's game is Bang Bang Ball, developed by Metro Corporation and published by Banpresto in 1996. It's based on a previous game from Metro, Mouse Shooter Go-Go, another game I know nothing about. I'm not sure how Robert is getting so lucky, but he's had more games than you'd expect at random in the last season or so. You play as a mouse on a skateboard as player 1, or on roller skates as player 2, trying to save your girlfriend who's been kidnapped by a group of cats. With 2 players, I'm guessing they've got some sort of 3-way thing going on. The game is a mix between Puzzle Bobble and a run and gun shooter. You control the mouse, who can move and fire balls in each of the 8 directions, trying to hit the other balls of the same colour to clear them. It's similar to Puzzle Bobble, but you can move your character and fire in more directions. You clear the level when all the balls are gone, and you die if the circulating balls hit you. A quick play, and I certainly enjoyed what I saw. I do like a puzzle game, and I've played worse games for sure. For next week, please send me your games from 1997. We could finally get a Puzzle Bobble game, with Puzzle Bobble 4 coming out that year. But the game that really stands out for me is Shock Troopers on the Neo Geo. And Street Fighter 3 also came out that year. So I hope you all enjoy playing some Bang Bang Ball, and I'll be back next week with the scores. See you then.